Hi, and welcome back to not an episode of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Now, you may be a little bit confused as to what I mean by that. So let me just walk you through what happened while I was recording the episode that was supposed to be. So, I recorded an episode. I got about 40 minutes of content recorded. It all went fine. In fact, I would argue it was the best episode so far. And I'm not saying that to embellish anything, but I'll explain in a little bit. But basically, when I came to stop recording and to let OBS process and export out the video, OBS stopped responding. Which is a thing that programs do sometimes, when there are other tasks going on your computer that are taking up valuable resources that the program needs to continue to function. So I thought, okay, well, that's pretty bad. That's really not ideal, but I'll turn everything else off. The only other thing was security breach, but, I'll turn everything off, I'll set OBS to high priority in the task manager, and I'll leave it for a bit. So I ended up leaving it for about an hour, and it just was not, it wasn't having any of it. So, unfortunately, I lost that entire 40-minute episode. And I am very, very upset, to put it lightly. Although, to be fair, I did still manage to salvage something from this recording. 2 whole minutes, in fact. I have 2 minutes of footage that I am going to show you. But then afterwards, I'm kind of going to have to rely on the internet. I'm going to have to use somebody else's gameplay and commentate over it. So this is just going to be an abridged episode, just explaining what I did and how I felt about it and all of that. So, yeah, I'm I'm really, really upset about this because, like I say, I think it was the best episode of the series so far, for a number of reasons, which we will get into. But can't dwell on the past for too long. I'm going to take steps to make sure that this doesn't happen going forward. So, for this episode, we're just going to have to deal with something a little bit strange. So, I'm going to flash up the gameplay sources on screen right now. Go check out these channels. I assume I'm going to be pulling from multiple sources just to try and stitch together the narrative of this episode, if you will. So yeah, go check out these channels, show them some love, show them some support, and thank you for allowing me to effectively steal and repurpose your content. So yeah. But before we get into that, here is the 2 minutes that I was able to salvage. So, enjoy. Well, don't I feel like a goddamn fool. Hi, and welcome back to Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. So, you know how I was looking for the thing that would allow me to get into Mesa size? Do we remember that? Yeah, it turns out it was in the security office that I went to. I literally just walked past it and didn't fucking open it. So, yeah, that's fun. Oh, actually, before we do that, I have another thing that I discovered that I would very much like to do. And it requires me to go this way. Yeah, I did a little bit of digging on this game to see if there was any other notable stuff that I'd missed. I also, I just had to know where the Freddy Fizzy Faz was. And it turns out it is in the... Fuck! Why am I stuck? Am I gonna... Yeah. Shit. You don't even know where I am. Oh, fuck, you definitely do. Ah! Fuck! We got a Freddy upgrade, though, so it's fine. Oh, my God. Who? Who the fucking fuck? Okay, let's... Who keeps finding me? Is it Chica? And if it's Chica, where did she go? Oh my... Yeah, that's where the recording cut off. Didn't really get to make a ton of progress in that clip. For those wondering, I did survive the Chica attack. She kind of just lost interest. I jumped in that little pram, checked the cameras. None of the cameras were looking at my location. And she just kind of gave up and she went about her day. So, what I did next, I returned to Monty Golf. I got the Mesa-size ticket from the box that I so very obviously missed. It was in the same room that I got the Faz cam and the upgraded security badge from. It was just in a part of the room that I, for some reason, didn't think to look in. So I went and got that. I made my way. I saved, and then I made my way all the way back to Mesa-size, and I finally got into Mesa-size. I made my way up to the machine, and I pressed the button, and then I was told that I needed a control key, which I didn't have. There was one on my keyboard, but that was not what they were after. So I found out that I needed to go back to the theatre in the daycare, and I needed to go to that little downstairs section where the endoskeletons were. And I needed to go there, and I needed to retrieve these control keys. And I ended up, because I got the Freddy upgrade in that little 2-minute clip, I ended up just using Freddy to get straight to the box and to get straight out of there so that I didn't have to deal with the endoskeletons. And that went perfectly fine. Then I made my way back to Mesa-size, made my way back to the control room, and I used the little hint that I was given in one of the messages to put dark green into the corner. There are 4 corners in that room, and it does not specify which corner, so I just assumed that that meant the corner that the vent is in, and it turns out I was correct. It took me about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes to get the maze into the position that I wanted it to be in. And while I was doing this, the game just completely fucking choked on itself. I was averaging maybe 5 frames a second, 10 at a push, but the game was just running so poorly, which in retrospect probably should have been enough of an indicator of what was to come, but it wasn't, and I'm stupid, and I'm not happy about it, but, you know, we move on. So yeah, the game was just running like shit, and I was getting very, very audibly angry about it, because, to the best of my knowledge, there was no reason for it to be running that way. I was in a small room, and yes, I was moving things in a different room, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like it would be that taxing. But anyway, that is way besides the point. So, I got the maze in the correct position. I went all the way back to the main atrium so that I could save my progress. And I did that. And then I headed back into Mesa-size, and I headed through the vent to the Monty Gator Golf catwalks. Now, this is the part of the game that I have been absolutely dreading. When I played through the game on PlayStation 4, I intentionally did the Monty section first, before the post-game, because I knew that having the ability to save right there was going to be very, very important to me. I ended up just about beating it first try on my first PlayStation 4 playthrough, but it was like by the skin of my teeth. And so I knew that if I was going to have to... Granted, there is the little save in the atrium now, but like, even still, if I was going to have to redo a big thing every single time that I failed that, then I just wasn't going to be happy, basically. So I was very much dreading the Monty fight. And I beat it first try. Not only did I beat it first try, I beat it almost fucking flawlessly. So the way the fight works is you're up on the catwalks and there are a bunch of guns. They shoot little foam balls and you have to get a certain number of them into the prize bucket. I don't remember the exact number. I feel like it's like 20, somewhere between 20 and 30. And that each shot fills up a progress bar above the bucket. And then once the progress bar is full, you've effectively won the fight. You just have to go over to the button and then let Monty eat shit, basically. So out of those, again, I don't know, 20, 30 shots that I had to take, I only missed like 3. Every gun that I went to, I missed maybe 1, and then just on until the game, until the gun had ran out of ammo, and then I moved on to the next gun. I barely saw Monty the entire fight. He jumped down next to me at one point, but I was able to just sprint to the other side, which was closer to the bucket anyway, and then just keep shooting. It was genuinely a near flawless attempt at that fight, and I was absolutely ecstatic. I was so happy because, again, I was dreading this fight, and I know how difficult it can be, especially when you're in such close proximity to Monty. You know, he's up there with you, there is a very limited amount of places that you can run to, and you need to be able to be aiming at the bucket and shooting consistently. And I pulled it off. Not to fucking, like, blow my own trumpet or anything, but toot toot, motherfuckers. I did that so fucking well, and I was absolutely over the moon. So I watched the little cutscene where Monty dies, which I'll play now. And then I went up, I grabbed his claws, and I just felt a tingly sensation all over my body, because I'd done it, and I have never gotten this far in the game before. In my playthrough on PlayStation 4, I did Monty first, and then in the post-game, I could not get past the Chica section. I tried, I kid you not, at least 20 times. I could not get through it. So, I never got a fully upgraded Freddy. I never had the Roxy eyes, the Chica voice, and the Monty claws. And this is the first time that I had all 3 of those things. And I was so happy. And I made my way out of the little vent. I forget where it took me, but it's the vent from that part. I went through there, made my way to the main atrium, saved, and was absolutely over the moon. And so I stopped recording. That's about as perfect as an episode of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach can go, as far as I'm concerned. Like, yes, there was some annoyance with the fact that I had to keep going back and forth to different places to be able to actually manipulate the maze, but that was kind of funny. Like, I was a little bit annoyed, but I could also appreciate the comedy that allowed for. Then, the game running like shit. Again, I got very angry at that, but I can also see how my rage at that could have been amusing. And then I topped it off with a flawless performance. Like, that's a fucking perfect episode of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach as far as I'm concerned. I didn't run into any game-breaking bugs. I didn't die. I didn't fucking fall out of bounds at random. I didn't have animatronics teleporting on me. It was just everything worked. Everything went perfectly. And then I lost the recording because OBS gave the fuck up. So, yeah, that was all that happened that episode. It was still a 40-minute recording, but yeah, that was that episode. And I'm really, really sad that footage is gone, because it's genuinely the happiest I've been when playing this game. I love this game. I love it to pieces, but we know at this point in the series that it also drives me fucking crazy. It drives me absolutely bananas. And I end very many an episode feeling very frustrated or relieved to finally be done with a grueling, painful sequence. But this time, I was just happy. And OBS said, "No, that won't do. No, you're not allowed. You can't do that." So, yeah. I'll take this as a learning experience. I will take different measures to ensure that this doesn't happen again. I will record gameplay in a format that is recoverable, not directly to MP4, because that's what I've been doing. I've been recording directly to MP4, where I now know, be recording to MKV and then converting that to MP4, because the MKV files are recoverable, whereas the MP4 files, at least through OBS, are not. So I know that now. And the thing is, I've never had issues with OBS. This is touch wood, this is the first time I've ever had any sort of issue with OBS. So, yeah. I'm gonna approach future episodes with a little bit more caution. Although I did kind of reach the conclusion at the end of this episode, the next episode's probably going to be the finale. All we really have left to do is upgrade Freddy and tackle the secret final boss. So, with that in mind, I'll see you next time for what is most likely going to be the final episode of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I'm so sorry that this penultimate episode was something of a letdown, something of a not a misguided effort, because I did try. It wasn't entirely my fault. But yeah, sorry this second to last episode is a little bit weird and disjointed and different. But I'm making the best with what I have, you know. I don't have the gameplay. I wish beyond all wishing that I had the gameplay to show, but I don't. So, yeah, thank you for putting up with this episode. Thank you to the providers of gameplay. Again, go check them out. And I will see you next time. Bye.